Welcome to Len's 48 Willys pickup project. This will be the last work we need to do on this cab before it can go off for final body work and paint. And what we're doing is putting in seat belts today. So the job here is to get mounts in here. We don't really want to leave the belts in here, but we got to get all the mounts in, get them welded in so that it's good, safe, and sound. And then it'll be ready to go off for paint. So let's get going with these seat belts. We're doing 3-point belts on the truck, and they call them 3-point because there are 3 mounting points. There will be one way down on the floor here. There will be another one where the retractor goes, and then finally another one up high somewhere in this neighborhood. And this is where the shoulder harness goes. Now you can't just run sheet metal screws into the metal here. You can't even just go with bolts because that sheet metal is probably 18 gauge and there's no way it's going to save your life if you're in an accident. The only way to do this right is to put metal plates behind them, weld a nut to it, and get those in place in all 3 of these. Well, actually there's 4 spots because you got one more spot here for the clasp that goes on the belt. So we need metal plates behind all of those. And the challenge on this is really not in the floor because I can crawl underneath there and I can get those plates right behind the floor. The real challenge is in this B-pillar because that B-pillar is completely enclosed. There is no way to reach in the back and get that plate in there. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of work to get those plates mounted. I started this job by cutting up 8 plates out of fairly thick metal. And these are the plates that are going to go behind all the sheet metal. They'll have a nut welded to them. And this is going to provide all of the support. So these are all ready to go. These are the belts we're using. They're pretty generic standard belts. This was, I think these were less than $60. But it's just good 3-point belts, and I'll show you what comes in the package here. So what we've got here is our retractor mechanism. Got a couple of these, and then we've got the clasps. And then, let's see, where are all the nuts and bolts? Over here. Okay, correction, these didn't come with nuts, but we do have all of our hardware. These are 7/16 20. That seems to be kind of a standard for seat belts. And then these retractors up in the shoulder section also have a bolt in there. It's got a shoulder on it so that this can pivot freely once it's been installed. So the only other thing I needed to buy that I didn't have, since I'm not going into a vehicle that's already got those captive nuts in it, was some grade 8 nuts. And these are, again, 7/16 20. A little bit tough to find. I ended up buying them online just because it was easier. I got them in a day. So these are going to be welded to these plates, and then they're going to go up inside the truck. I put some planks in here to try to build this up to what the seat height will be on this truck. I'm just going to sit down in here and kind of figure out where my shoulder lands to see how high I need that top mount. Now I'm about 5'10", pretty average. And this is about the spot that I want to be as far as, the height, seeing out the windshield. I think this is where the factory seats would put me. So now it's just a matter of marking up here where I think the shoulder belt needs to land. Okay, this is about the height I want. Now I want this up about here I want that shoulder high enough that if somebody taller than me gets in here, it's not going to wrap down and over, but I don't want it too high. So we're going to go right here. Now keep in mind, that doesn't mean that's where we're going to mount this. That means that's where I want the top of the belt to land. So here's what I'm talking about. Get this pulled out a little ways. So this has got a loop that this goes through. So what I need to do is make sure that I account for not putting it there, but up there, so this right here lands at the spot I want it. Let's start with the easiest ones. So I'm going to do the floor plates first. All I have to do really is put a hole through here and then a couple holes for plug welding those, and we'll be good to go. Let's see. Might need one more size up on that. And a battery. There. That'll do. I got my holes drilled and I put the plate underneath. Just used a couple magnets to hold it in place. I ran the bolt down and snugged it up so that I could pull this up tight. Now I'm just going to plug weld these, and I'll do the same for the other four, or the other three. Okay, we're plug welded. Bolt just drops right in there. All I need to do is grind these off. I'll be done with this one, and repeat this 3 more times in the floor. Got all 4 of our floor anchors in now. Plug welded, ground off. So we can just mount the bottom pieces right there. Now we just need to work on the pillars. Now on these pillars, I've marked where I want the anchor to go. But the problem with the pillars is they're boxed in. There is no access from behind. So what I have to do is drill a hole there first so I know exactly where things are going. Then I'm going to cut out a slot, and it needs to be, I don't know the exact size. I'll figure it out in just a minute. I'm going to cut a slot out here somewhere inside that. And then I'll be able to slide my plate up and in there. I'll drill a couple holes here, plug weld it, and I'll save the piece I cut out, and I'll put it right back in here, grind it off, and you won't really notice it. I marked out the hole I want to cut. This is about as small as I can go. I'm going to go a little bit on the outside of these lines because I got to fit that in there. And I've put the smallest grinding wheel I've got on here so that I can get that started. I may have to go to a Dremel on these. That's pretty tight space there. But I'm going to cut that out and I'll be back. Thought I'd bring you in here real quick to at least show you how I'm doing this. So the top and the bottom I cut with just a small grinding wheel and my angle grinder. And these sides, I'm using a little different wheel on my Dremel. So the first thing I did is I got that one free and pried it out a little bit. Then I got this one, but before I did that, I put a screwdriver up in there, bent it out, kind of held it in there because I don't want this to drop down inside or it's gone forever, and I need this. So I've already got this released there. Now what I want to do is, I guess I'll mark an arrow on this for which way is up, so when I put it back in, it'll fit right. So now the trick is to get that plate back in behind there without dropping it. So let me show you what I'm doing here. I just took the plate, I wrapped some string around it, and just in case I do lose track of it, I tied a little wrench to the end of it, so if it does fall, it's not going to drop all the way through. And so now what's going to happen is it's going to go in here like this. I can bring it up here and kind of hold it snug against there and tack it into these spots that I've already pre-drilled for plug welds. Then we continue on. All right, we're plug welded in there. Now I just have to grind these off, clean them up, and I have to weld in my patch right there that I cut out, and then we'll be done. Okay, the patch is welded back in. I'll do a quick grind and we'll take a final look at this. And that's the finished anchor in my pillar. Look up in there, you can see that nut. That threads in. I just got 3 more of these to do now and I'll be done. I'm all done. That was the first one. We got one down by the floor here. And then over on this side, there's 2 more. Let me throw some seat belts on here so you can see how this is all going to fit together. So we've got the initial anchor in the floor that runs up to the top of the pillar and through that loop back to the retractor. And then we've got our clasp on this side. There, all buckled up. I think this is going to work out just fine. There's one more thing that I noticed when I put these in for my test fit, and I had the same problem on both the other trucks that I did this on. I'll show you this. So we'll bring the seat belt in and hook it up down here. This little arm here is so short it won't even make it up in between the seat. So this needs to be extended. So I need to make something to move this point up to about here so that this is up where it's within reach and it kind of comes out through the seat. I flipped up the seat in my truck to show you what I'm thinking about here. You see this, just this little strap that starts down by the floor. I'll get my hand out of the way. Starts down by the floor and kicks up just, I don't know, maybe 2-3 inches. This I actually wish was a little higher, so I'm going to make these slightly larger. But that's what I'm looking at. I'm just going to make 2 of those out of some, fairly good, strong metal, and that'll extend that clasp out far enough that we can reach it. Got some metal here. It's not pretty, but this will be just fine. It's plenty thick. So I'm going to start by drilling a hole down at this end. Then I'll mark where I want to bend it. We'll bend it up. Mark the length, cut this, drill another hole. Last thing I did to this extension bracket is weld a nut onto the end just to make it easier to attach this to the seat belt. So let's put it in and see how it fits. All right, we'll go just like this. All right, this can be bent around to any angle we need it, but okay, I think that's a lot better. That's right where I can reach it. It won't be stuffed underneath the seat. So I just need to make a second one like this and get some paint on those, and they'll be done. Finishing up on the seat belts is the last work I need to do on the cab. So we're going to load this thing up, and then Len's going to take it off to Jesse for all the finished body work and paint. Okay, I'll hold it here if you want to go there.
You're scraping on your spot.
You can push it this way.
Okay, now I got it.
Go. That was too easy. Well, that wraps it up for this episode. I want to thank you for joining me and following along. Next time around, we're done out here at my shop. We're going to head back to Len's, and we want to start stripping the chassis. So the first thing we're going to do is get that thing running. He had the carburetor rebuilt and wants to give that a try, see how it runs. So we'll do that first. Then we're going to pull the engine, and if we have time, we'll pull the transfer case and the transmission out and have it ready to start cleaning up.